All right, so it is 7 o'clock. We're going to get started. My name is Jordana Sims. I'm the manager of Expedia Cruises in Red Deer and Olds, and we are super excited to have Kim Tobias here to give us a quick overview, about half an hour of all that's new, exciting, and some cool itineraries with Oceania. So, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll circle back to them at the end. But other than that, I will let you take it away, Kim.
So much, Jordana. I love the theme, the summer possibilities. So I'm looking forward to sharing lots of different things with you tonight in my 30 minutes. I wanted to say thank you to Expedia, Red Deer and Olds, and Susan, who's celebrating her birthday, for inviting me. And I look forward to sharing with you a little bit about Oceania. So first of all, I think that my job is easy because I just get to talk about one cruise line. I know there's lots of beautiful ones out there, and particularly in the luxury category. So I'm happy to say that Oceania is in the luxury category of cruise lines, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about why we're in the luxury cruise line. Cruise luxury is different for everybody. So I'm going to wanted to share a little something with you that Oceania was actually my very first cruise that I ever did. I worked for WestJet and primarily took land-based vacations. And so when I had the exciting opportunity to sail on Oceania, I did so because of this incredible itinerary. I had a bucket list, and it was Italy, Spain, and France. And the itinerary that I chose with Oceania took in all of those beautiful places. So for me, one of the things that I love is that the luxury to choose where you want to go. So tonight we're just going to chat on who is Oceania, who are our guests on board. We're going to talk about food, of course, because that's such a big part of traveling and cruising. I'm going to talk about where we sail and then a little bit about our current promotions. So first of all, who sails with Oceania? Hopefully some of you watching tonight have sailed with us. We have our guests are experienced cruisers, so they have about 90% have sailed before, so that's pretty high. But we have some new I guess new to cruising. A lot of people that have river cruised in the past. So they've been on the small ships, just under 200 people. When they're making the jump from a river cruise to an ocean cruise, they often choose Oceania because we have these beautiful small ships. And I'll talk a little bit about that. And so we have our guests want to see the world, but they don't want to do it on a large ship. They want to have a small ship experience. And then there's lots to do. There's lots of things to experience when you're cruising with Oceania. So our guests are looking for a immersive cultural experience. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Oceania Promise. So first of all, we identify as the finest cuisine at sea. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but food is such a big part of traveling, and we do such a great job of destination-focused dining. We source all local ingredients wherever we are. I just came back from Alaska, so I'm going to share with you some things about that. Award-winning itineraries. We have more itinerary choices than any other cruise line. And again, all of our ships are in the small ship category. So first of all, one of the things that I remember about my first cruise with Oceania was how I felt when I was on board. So I just remember that I was well taken care of, that I felt that I was coming part of a family, and I love that experience. And when I was in Alaska, actually, I flew into Anchorage and then started my cruise in Whittier. And as I was waiting for the transfer to take us there was a lovely couple beside me, and I asked them if this was their first cruise, and they looked at me like I was crazy, and they said, "This is my 38th." So they had sailed with us 38 times. And I asked them why. Why do you keep choosing Oceania? And for this exact reason is that they said that they feel cared for when they're on board, that the staff make them feel like family. And sailing with us 38 times, I guess they would know most of our crew. So I'm just going to share with you a little video on how our guests make us feel when we're on board.
Yeah. You really could have made it.
Mm. I would have to say that no matter where I was on the ship, always was made feel special. So when I'm getting off the ship, when I'm getting on, when I'm in the dining room, at the guest services, I always felt like I was a family member and they made me feel at home. So that's one of my favorite things that I love about Oceania. So a little bit about our ships. We have down below, we have four beautiful ladies. Those are our regatta class ships. They are small in size. My first cruise was on the regatta itself. I loved walking on board. There was no lineups. It was easy for me to move around the ship. We have about 670 guests on board our small little ones. And so those are lovely because they can get into small ports of call that no one else can get into. And then we have our Oceania class ship. We have the Marina and the Riviera. The Riviera is currently with us here she's in Canada. At the moment, she's sailing the Alaska season. So that's the one I was on. And I love that size as well. It was around 1,200 guests. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what there is to do on board the ship. We have the lovely Marina, which is the Riviera's sister ship, and then we have Oceana Vista, which came out a couple of years ago. And the nice thing about Oceana is that they don't just make cookie cutter ships. They listen to the guest feedback. They look at what works and what doesn't work. And so when they're designing the next ship, they incorporate those beautiful suggestions and ideas into the next ship that they build. And last week we welcomed the Allura, and she's in Europe for the Mediterranean for the summer season. She's going to make her way over to Canada to do Canada and New England, and she's going to spend the winter in the Caribbean. So if you sailed with Oceania before and want to try one of our new ships, I would highly recommend either the Vista or the Allura. We have some really great savings, which I'll talk to you about. So that is our fleet of have 8 ships. We will be welcoming a new ship in 2027 called the Sonata, and after that, the Ariata. So we're definitely growing. So here you can see the difference in size from some of our competition. We saw a trend after the pandemic. We saw a trend. People didn't want to be on the larger ships anymore. They went to small ship sailing. Here you can see that even in the Allura class, which is in our smallest ship, 3 of those can fit into a ship of our competitors. So we've got these nice, beautiful ships. We have a staff to guest ratio of 2 to 3, which how we can provide that excellent service. The other thing I'll talk about with our culinary experiences, we have 1 chef for every 10 guests. We have 50% of our team dedicated to the culinary experience and incorporating that in the finest cuisine at sea. And then we have these beautiful butlers in the suites that we offer. So when you walk on board, you feel like you're coming home. They have these beautiful Ralph Lauren design ships. They're not noisy and over the top. They're just elegant in design, and they have a residential feel for them. So I do love that feeling that you get when you walk on board. And then we have a selection of places to gather. Of course, we want to spend time with each other, but maybe we want to meet new people as well. So we have these beautiful bars and lounges. We have more bars and lounges for the size of our ships than any other cruise line. So my favorite was it was the martini bar, I'm going to say. I love the happy hour where you could do a 2-for-1 martini. And that usually started around 5 to 7. So that was great. You could go and enjoy a martini. But the nice thing is on the Riviera, not only are you enjoying this beautiful lounge and meeting new people from all over the world, they have some incredible art around the ship, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But in the martini bar on the Riviera, they actually had Picasso's sketching. So I was sitting there having my martini, looking at Picasso's, and I thought, wow, this is such a beautiful experience. The other thing that I loved is the staterooms. I've sailed on many cruise lines. I've been fortunate enough to sail on any cruise line. I've never had a bed anywhere, even in a hotel, that is more comfortable than the Oceania bed. In fact, it's so comfortable, we name it and we actually sell it. So it's called the Tranquility Bed. It's the finest of linens, it's the finest of mattresses, and I didn't really want to get up in the morning, and it was so comfortable. And that's one of the things that I loved about our staterooms. On the new ship, we have also veranda staterooms. We have our staterooms about 20% larger than our competition. Generous closet space, which I love, but my favorite was the bathroom. So there was so much space. There was so much space for storage when you're getting ready to go for dinner. There was, again, lots of space. So there's so many things that I really love about our staterooms and the amenities that we have. But luxury to me is also dining experience. So for me, I love to eat well and I love to drink nice wine. So another reason why I chose Oceania for my first cruise, I knew that we were a foodie cruise line, and I knew that I was going to have a great dining experience on board. So it all started with a partnership with Jacques Pepin. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But as I mentioned earlier, we have 1 chef for every 10 guests. We have the highest quality of ingredients. We have the state-of-the-art kitchens. They are all the most up-to-date kitchens that is possible. So with all the amenities that it takes to have the finest kitchen to prepare all this incredible food. We have authentic gourmet menus, and we have dishes that reflect the local cuisine. So the other thing is how we source our food. So when I'm going to share with you about on my Alaska trip when I was sourcing when I enjoyed some incredible fish, because when we were in Dock and Skagway, the chefs went into the town and met with a local fish merchant and purchased all the salmon and all the halibut for the cruise. And so we had fresh fish every night. And so it was founded, as I said, by foodies for foodies. So if you're a foodie, then you're definitely going to feel right at home on Oceania. We've got a few different places to enjoy our dining. But the thing I want to mention that also sets us apart and also is luxury to me is that all of these dining options are included. So one thing about Oceania is that we have so many different inclusions. We're not in the we're not in the premium category, contemporary category where you're paying a la carte for many things. We have a lot of things that are all included, and all of our specialty dining is included. So you can choose the grand dining room. They have a selection of different types of cuisine. They change the menu every 14 nights if you happen to be on one of our longer stays. The Polo Grill, I had the most largest lobster, which we sourced from Nova Scotia. I had that one night, and I don't always treat myself to lobster, but I didn't have to because it was included. The Toscana, they start with different types of oils and different types of vinegars, and they offer that to you with freshly baked bread. The red ginger was also a wonderful. I love Asian food, and it didn't disappoint. I had the miso glazed sea bass for dinner. We're introducing some new menu options to red ginger. And then, of course, the founder has his own French restaurant, which is classic French cuisine. And that is the Jacques Pepin restaurant. So it was also everything was delicious. But one of the things I wanted to mention is that one unique thing about Oceania is that each of those wonderful specialty dining have their own galley and have their own chefs. So someone's not running from a different part of the ship to serve. As you order, the chefs in the galley of that particular restaurant are making your food. So that is something also unique about Oceania. And I had a tour of sort of the main galley and how the food works. So it was just really interesting to see. People always ask me what is the dress code on board. So it is country club casual. So although we have the finest of dining, you can show up in a country club casual atmosphere and dress. So if you wanted something just a little bit more casual, maybe not doing specialty dining, in addition to the grand dining room, we have the Terrace Cafe that's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We do market dinners there where we prepare the salmon and the halibut I was mentioning. We have the Waves Grill, which is located close to the pool. My favorite menu selection there was the Wagyu beef burger topped with lobster. So I may have had a couple of those. I like to get up in the morning and go up to baristas and enjoy a latte. When we pull into some of these ports in Alaska, the scenery was incredible. We have Aquamar on the larger ships, which is more, I would say that would definitely be more healthy choices. And then we also have a pizzeria on the larger ships. So not going to go hungry. Lots of different things to choose from. The afternoon tea is also lovely. They serve it up on the top of the ship. So you're not only enjoying your tea, but you're seeing these incredible views. And oftentimes in Alaska, we had a naturalist. So while we were having our tea, she was talking about the environment in Alaska. We were over the Hubbard Glacier, so that was incredible. All that while enjoying a cup of tea. They have a beautiful private dining room where you can enjoy maybe a family dinner or maybe celebrating an anniversary or engagement, something like that. We have a fee for that room, but you can order your food complimentary from either Polo or Toscana. And then we cater to all the different adversities for the individual diet. So in each kitchen, there is one chef dedicated for special orders, and they have a specials part in the galley for that. So if you happen to be gluten-free and worried about cross-contamination, we got you. They're going to be preparing that especially for you in a certain part of the galley. So I love that. Um, of course, when we're traveling around the world, I'm not the only one with a bucket list, I'm sure. So you're going to be wanting to look at the incredible itineraries that we have on Oceania. We have our Tropics and Exotic already released for 2026 and 2027. So put your bucket list together and reach out to one of the consultants at Olds or Red Deer. Talk about your where you want to see, what areas of the world, and chances are we have the perfect itinerary for you. Where do we sail? So we sail to 600 different ports over 100 different countries and over the 7 continents. So we do sail around. We do sail around the world. even into Antarctica. And I understand that Expedia has an Antarctic specialist. So Emily just came back from Antarctica, so I know she can talk about that with you. But first of all, I wanted to share, I mentioned to you that Riviera came into port into Vancouver, where she's doing the Alaska season, but her itinerary was really starting out in Japan. You can see this very immersive itinerary in Japan, all the different places that she went through before she crossed the international date line. She went into Whittier and then all the way into Vancouver doing the Alaska season. So that's where she started, and that itinerary is a repositioning. So you have the opportunity to do that, which would be an incredible experience. Japan is very popular right now, so I wanted to share a couple of the itineraries with you. If you've ever dreamt about going to Japan, we have this 12-day itinerary, which is really a circumnavigation for the most part of Japan. It goes into some very interesting ports of call. So that's the date in 2026. There's a few dates actually for 2026 in April. So you're seeing the blossoms. In 2027, we also have a couple of March dates. We have 3 March dates too, that also does the circumnavigation of Japan. So that might be an itinerary that you are interested in. So immersive itineraries and having small ship sailing allow us to define how we sail. So we have, one of the nice things is we have fewer sea days. When we're sailing, we have more time in port. We've got a small little ship. We don't spend a lot of time getting on and off the ship. So we have the opportunity to spend more time in port. We have really long itineraries. So in some of the itineraries, you're coming in very early in the morning and you're not leaving until 10 p.m., which really gives you the opportunity to fully immerse yourself in that particular destination. So we have some late night evening departures. And then we also have some overnight. So in Bordeaux, for example, when we're doing that itinerary in France, we pull into Bordeaux. Because we have a small ship, we dock with all the river ships. And then you have an overnight. So you have 2 full days in Bordeaux. So if you're a wine lover, you can go out and explore wine. You can do a foodie tour. So that's the other wonderful thing about Oceania. And that to me is luxury. We also have a partnership with Condé Nast. We have a travel partnership where they help us curate these incredible itineraries. So you can check out the Condé Nast immersive itineraries. And then, of course, being a foodie cruise line, we have to offer some culinary excursions. So where you're going in with the chefs into places like Bordeaux, you're going into the market, you're buying your fresh food that you're going to be coming back and cooking on board the ship. You can explore the markets. So we have lots of really interesting culinary excursions. And I think that's really part of exploring different countries too, is exploring the culinary opportunities. And then we have some really interesting excursions as well. So we have more excursions than any other cruise line. There's so many different options that you can choose from if you want to go and see these different places in the world. So what is there to do on an Oceania ship? Well, I'm happy to say there's lots of things to do. You will never be bored. First of all, we have guest speakers that come on board. We had a naturalist when I was in Alaska. She was very knowledgeable about the sea life. So they're going to be doing lectures about the areas that you're sailing in. They're all very interesting. And so you can choose to enjoy that, or they record them for later on so you can watch them from the comfort of your room. And of course, we have to have a cooking school. So we have a culinary center. I did a cooking school in Alaska. It was one of my favorite things that I did. We did I don't know if I have a picture here. I was going to show you. We made a cocktail, we made an appetizer, a main course, and then a dessert. And of course, it had to be paired with some wine. So the culinary center was one of my favorite activities that I did. So please, if you're going to be sailing with Oceania, you love to cook, you love to eat. This is such a great experience for you to do. You meet other people, you can do it with your spouse, you can do it alone. It's just such a wonderful opportunity. So please make sure if you're sailing with us that you make that a priority. We also have the opportunity in the chef studio. Maybe you love food, but you maybe don't want to cook. You just want want to learn about cooking and recipes and how you make things, I learned a lot from a chef. This was Chef Kelly here that did this. So we have a cooking studio. We also have a Link Center. It's called the Link Digital Center. We really started out this as an experiment. We thought, you know what? Why don't we do courses for people that want to learn how to maybe increase their photography on their phone? Maybe that they want to learn how to FaceTime with their grandchildren and so on. So we started to do these classes, and we thought a few people would show up. We were having 120 people at these classes. So now we have in a new ships. We've got their own center. Of course, on our ships, have beautiful art. So art, I mentioned Picasso's. We've got Matisse. We've got all sorts of different beautiful art. But if you're an art lover, you can take one of our classes on board. We have a resident artist that comes on board. On my cruise, she was doing watercolors, so this is included complimentary. You can learn how to sketch. We have about $5 to $7 million of art on each of the ships. So the other thing too is that we've learned about food, but we also want to learn how to pair it with some wine. So we have some beautiful wine pairings and tasting, and then. So lots of things to do. I didn't even talk about the nightlife. We've got lots of things to do. We've got paddleboard tennis. We've got golf. We've got all sorts of different things, beautiful spas. I couldn't get to everything in the 30 minutes. So please reach out to one of the wonderful consultants. So promotions, we have our one of our executives is a Canadian. And so he came out with this beautiful Canadian at Par. It's a true Canadian at Par, and it offers beer and wine with lunch and dinner. So that is a great savings, and also $250 ship credit. These are some of the itineraries on the Canada Par. You've got Barcelona to Istanbul. I'm going to talk about your world, what is included, but here you're having this incredible value. We've got Bali to Sydney. Again, this is in February. We all need a bit of sun in February, so we've got the Bali to Sydney on the Canada Par. This one, we've got the Palms to Penguins. This is the itinerary. This is a nice sort of winter holiday itinerary if you're looking to go to other places other than sort of maybe Palm Springs or Arizona or Florida. I love this one. This is a 24-day itinerary, Palms to Penguins. This is starting in Rio and then going into Chile, and then around the Antarctica Peninsula, but you actually don't get off. So it would be for someone that wants to enjoy the beauty of Antarctica but doesn't necessarily want to do all the activities. So we know now we have a Antarctica specialist, Emily, so you can reach out to her. Look at the pricing on this for the Canadian at Par. It's for a 24-day sailing. You're talking under $9,000 with everything included. I just wanted to share this because I think that the pricing is just incredible. So all of those things are included. These are some of the things that you'd be seeing and enjoying up on that sailing. We also have another sail, Summer of Choice. This one, if your itinerary, Canada Par is about 66 different itineraries. If you don't see the itinerary that you want on there, it could be on the Summer of Choice. So here you get a shipboard credit and up to 40% off. And we've got a few beautiful itineraries here. This one is in December. So if you want to avoid all the all the relatives at Christmas time, you can get on this one. This one is a 24-day sailing. You're leaving December 17th. Maybe I was talking from personal experience. Okay, never mind. This one goes from Bali all the way to Papeete. And so again, look at the pricing. So you've got a 24-day for under $8,000 Canadian. Just unheard of. So take advantage of these. Reach out to the consultants. They all have the information. This one is also beautiful. Cape Town to Singapore. If you haven't been to Africa before, you might want to start with a safari, spend a few weeks in Africa, and then sail all the way to Singapore. And then you've been seeing the Your World included, and I've been talking about shipboard credits and beverage packages included, but Oceania also does a great job of including almost everything. So you've got shipboard gratuities are included. All of our dining we spoke about. If you want to, if you have, you can dine in your suite. If you're in one of the penthouses or concierge level, you can have food delivered to your suite by course. So that might be a good option for you if you've had a long day. All the juices, smoothies, and ice cream. I'm going to share with you that we do swap out the ice cream. We make them on board the ship. And when I was on, we had an ice cream called Elvis the Fat Years, and it was banana, chocolate, and bacon. Apparently, that was Elvis's favorite combination. So, just to share with you, that was all included. You can join the fitness classes, laundry service, and so on. So, maybe you want to avoid flying. We've got a couple of itineraries leaving from Vancouver. This one starts Vancouver, it repositions. This is a repositioning next year from Alaska. She heads over to Hawaii. I will share the itinerary with you. I'll share the itinerary on the next slide. But we've also got a couple round trip Vancouver to Vancouver doing Alaska for next year. So this is the itinerary when we reposition. She starts out in Vancouver, goes up to Alaska, hangs a left, heads over to the Hawaiian Islands, makes her way into French Polynesia, and before she makes her way into all these different beautiful regions in the South Pacific and ends in Bali. So 58 days. We also have a world cruise. If you cruise a couple of times a year, you might want to consider taking the world cruise, getting it all done at one time. I highly recommend our world cruise. But in addition to all the different savings that I've spoke about, we have a wonderful partnership with Expedia Cruises, and we have going to be participating in their Elite Explorer Collection promotion. This is going to start on July 28th and go until the 15th of August. So you have time to think about where you want to go. So in addition to all the different sailings, we're going to add additional a $250 shipboard credit only available through Expedia. So this is exclusive to them because of the wonderful partnership that we have together. And they have several different sailings that they do throughout the year where you also get the $250 shipboard credit. So please reach out to them. They're extremely knowledgeable. I was talking with a friend the other day about my bucket list, and one of them is Antarctica. And she said, where are you on your measuring tape? And I said, what do you mean? And she said, put out your measuring tape. The average lifespan is about 83 years. Where are you? Are you in the beginning? Are you in the middle? Are you getting closer to the end? And that was kind of eye-opening for me. I thought, I think I'm getting a little close to the end of my measuring tape. I better move my bucket list to the front and take those trips now. So that's what I wanted to say to you. Live well, eat well, travel well, and don't put off exploring the world. So thank you to everyone. I think I'm at 30 minutes, just a little bit over. So thank you so much, Jordana, your teams, for inviting me. It was such a pleasure talking with you about Oceania. And again, please reach out to the wonderful teams. They are very, very knowledgeable and will get your bucket list trip booked for you. So thank you so much. I don't know if we have any questions, Jordana.
No, I don't see any. I'll give it a minute just in case anybody wants to or was holding off until the very last minute. But thank you so much for a great presentation, Kim. I know I'm also
Yeah,
a foodie and I love to cook, so all the opportunities to get into the kitchen and work with some chefs sounds great to me. And I know my husband's just about the wine pairings that go with the cooking. So there's definitely something for
yeah.
everyone. And some of those Canada at par rates are incredible. You can't even
They're
go to
true par.
Calgary or Banff for those
Yeah.
rates. So
Yeah, they're true par. So it's an excellent opportunity. And the Canada Par itineraries were specifically chosen for Canadians, perhaps avoiding some of those U.S. ports of call. So take advantage of that Canada Par. It's in place until the end of August. So please make sure that you are. Yeah, reaching out and making those bookings. It represents such great value. Did we have a couple of questions? Um,
just lots of comments saying thank you and this looks
Oh,
fantastic.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so
Great
much.
webinar. So
I love the
um
feedback. Thank you.
yeah.
Well,
And
reach
we're
out to me,
excited for
but
those of you who are on here. Kim will be joining us for our World Explorer show. So if you didn't get
so
enough of her tonight, she'll be in Red Deer in person presenting on October 4th. This is your sneak peek because we haven't posted all the details on social media. So stay tuned for that. And it doesn't look like there's any questions. So we'll give everybody back some time in their evening and you can go hit the beach, Kim.
thank you so much. I did share with you that's where I'm going, so thank you. Good night,
Have a good
everyone.
night.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.